Hi, everybody. It's Heather. I'm back, and I just wanted to share my labor and delivery story with you. And baby's sleeping right now, so it's perfect time. So, I will start off on June 17th. On June 17th, I was 5 days overdue. And I decided that I was going to try to do an enema to bring on labor because God knows I didn't want to try castor oil. So I did that in the middle of the day, and it didn't do anything. It only made me take one poo. So anyways, I just thought, well, that was a big waste of time, and it probably was. I don't think that's what brought it on. So whatever. Next morning, I woke up at about 6:09. My husband was getting ready to get up for work, and I said to him that I thought I just had a really big contraction, but whatever, no big deal, because in the morning times is when I'd been having the most contractions anyways. So I was just joking around with him, and I said, maybe I'll have the baby today, Again, I've been saying that every other morning. So he says, yeah, maybe, whatever. So, anyways, he left. I was awake from that point on. I went to the bathroom, and then I had two more contractions. So that one was at 6:09, then I think I had one at like 39, and I don't remember when the next one was. Anyways, I was texting my girlfriend, and I said, maybe this is it, I doubt it, I'm going to go take a shower, and we'll see. So I took a shower, and I might have had a couple more in the shower, but nothing unbearable still. Then I got dressed, and as the morning's going on, still getting them, still not unbearable, but I decided, this feels like it might be the real thing, because they hadn't been coming this steady before. So finally at 10 till 8, I decided to call my mom. She lives 5 minutes down the road from me, and I was hesitant to call her because she likes to sleep in late, and I thought, oh my God, if this isn't it, if this is false, she's going to be mad at me for waking her up. But I said, take your time, don't worry, take a shower, just come over whenever you're done. And, she did come over. Maybe it was about like 8:30 by the time she got over here. And when my mom got here, we put on contractionmaster.com and started timing the contractions. And I believe they were about 11, 10 minutes apart, and then they got to be like 8 minutes, and some of them were regular, some of them felt like they were like, I could feel when the contraction was coming, and I would go over to the counter and just rock my hips, lean on the counter and rock my hips. But some of them lasted, most of them lasted like a minute. Excuse me, I'm not really tired, I don't know why I'm yawning. Other ones only lasted about like 38 seconds. And so finally I said to my mom, we better make my big boys some lunch, because my younger brother is going to come over and watch the boys and pick my older one up from school. And I said, let's just make them some sandwiches, because when we're gone, I'm sure Chris doesn't feel like cooking for them. He's only 17. So we made some sandwiches for my boys, and Mom said after we were done with the sandwiches, we better leave for the hospital. And I thought, after we were done, I said, let's wait like 5 more contractions. And then a couple more came. Excuse me, gosh. And she said, we better go. And I'm like, okay, fine, because they were coming about maybe 6 minutes apart, 6, 7 minutes apart by then. And the hospital's a good 30, 35 minutes away. So we left. I told my husband what was going on. He was working kind of by the hospital, maybe about 20 minutes away from the hospital. And I said, don't worry, don't leave your work yet. This might not be real. Let me just see what happens when we get to the hospital, and I'll tell you when to come. So we get to the hospital, and we go right in up to the elevator to the 14th floor, which is labor and delivery. And we seen this lady in the elevator, and she says, did you go to admitting first? And we said, no. We're like, who's this weird lady? She says, well, you should go back down to admitting, because if you don't, then they're just going to send you down there anyways. Save you some time. So we get in the elevator and go to admitting, and sure enough, it was the right thing to do. They had a nurse come down and get me. Of course, they hurried things up as soon as they heard that I was in active labor, but still, as we walk in the hospital, up the elevator, down the elevator, to admitting, I only had like one contraction that I had to stop and hold onto the wall and breathe through. I had another one at admitting. Anyway, so I get up to the room. They remember, I'm going all natural, no IVs, no hook me up to the machine, but of course they have to for the 20-minute period. So I fill out all the paperwork with her, answer all the questions. She's got me on the monitors. I told her I didn't want to lay in the bed, but I guess you have to be laying in the bed for the monitors to work. So I laid in the bed. It seems like, excuse me, oh, by the way, the weird lady in the elevator turned out to be my nurse. She was just coming to her shift, and she walks in the room and she's like, hi, and I was like, oh my God, that was super cool. Thank you for telling us. So anyways, back to the monitors. She hooked me up to the monitors. It seemed like I only had to be in there for like maybe 2 contractions worth, and then she said, all right, go ahead, let's get them off, stand up. Or, no. She said, let's just take them off. Oh, and then she was going to check me, see how far along I was. So she asked me, she checked me, and she says, what do you think you are? I was just messing around. I'm like, oh, I don't know, 7. She's like, 7 to 8 centimeters. And I was like, wow. So then I texted my husband and everybody else, 7 to 8 centimeters, getting in the tub. So yeah, my husband pretty much stepped on it from that point, I guess. So we started filling up the tub, and I got in, and it was wonderful, and I labored in there. Ooh, excuse me. Through every contraction, I was just silent, not even breathing like heavy, just closing my eyes, breathing regularly. I was just thinking in my head the whole time that my body needs to work, that the uterus is contracting and pushing the baby down and out is what I kept thinking through each one of the contractions. And sure enough, shortly after, my midwife was called that I was going to be ready soon. So I'm in the tub, and I'm getting ready. Everything's getting stronger, and I just keep saying, well, they're not letting up. They're not giving me a break, the contractions. So then the nurse comes back in, and she says, I have really bad news. Your midwife is out of town. Of course, it always happens to me, every time. And she said the other doctor on rotation from my office was going to come and deliver me, Dr. Tonder, and I've never met Dr. Tonder, so I was really bummed out by that. And then I said, well, will she do the water birth? And she said, no, Dr. Tonder doesn't do water births. I'm like, oh my God. I was just so devastated. But at one point, I wanted to be devastated and cry and make a big stink out of it. But then in my head, I was like, no, this is not going to mess me up. I just, part of hypnobirthing is being open to other, if you needed something else, being open to suggestions. So I was going to be open to it and just go with the flow. And then the nurse, her name is Chris. And then my nurse, Chris, says, or if Dr.